Gretta Anderson. Genetically modified organisms, also known as GMOs, benefit our society in our agricultural and medical field. GMOs are very beneficial to the agricultural community due to the fact of the increased demand for food across our world. With the increased concern about GMOs in our human health, there is more research being done than ever before. First, I will talk about what are GMOs. Second, I will talk about why we use GMOs. And finally, I will finish with the effects of GMOs on human health. First, let's dig into what a GMO is. GMOs, also known as genetically modified organisms, have had their DNA modified for a specific trait. GMOs are living organisms that have had their DNA tweaked in a certain way by scientists in a lab for a desired trait that is memorable. According to Dr. Rick Millian, molecular tree physiologist at Purdue University, Journal of Purdue University, published in 2021, he states that organisms are not only plants, but bacteria and fungi. He also goes on to say that a gene is inserted into a certain cell, and then it splits and goes to every part of the cell. Dr. Millian states that GMOs aren't only beneficial to the agricultural field, but the medical field as well, as they have created insulin and vaccines. He also compared it to when a lab is crossed with a poodle and it creates a labradoodle. Now let's talk about why we use GMOs. In an article written by Dr. Peter Goldsbrough, professor of botany and plant pathology at Purdue University, Journal of Purdue University, The Science of GMOs, published in 2021, he states that the agricultural community sees a direct benefit from GMO crops. He says that most shoppers don't directly see the benefit when picking up the GMO crop off the shelf, but some of the benefits are lower prices, less soil erosion due to less tillage, and less herbicides used. He also goes on to state that those are just a few of the benefits, but some of the new benefits being researched are increased nutrition and a more consistent medication and treatments being used by GMO crops. He goes on to state that before GMO crops, they used to have to extract medications and treatments from blood donors, cadavers, or animals, which held a very high risk of contamination. Finally, let's talk about the effects of GMOs on the human health. Dr. Peter Goldsbrough, professor of botany and plant pathology at Purdue University, Journal of Purdue University, The Science of GMOs, published that GMOs are the most researched food group. Even though they are new and haven't had much research done about the effects, there's research being done every day to find out the new and improved methods. Dr. Goldsbrough states that GMOs are just like a normal plant, but they have had a gene or two inserted, which has increased the amount of proteins. In conclusion, the GMOs are very beneficial to the agriculture community, lessening the use of herbicides and pesticides and increasing the growth rate. GMOs are not only beneficial to the agricultural community, but the medical community as well. First, I talked about what a GMO is. Second, I talked about why we use GMOs. And finally, I talked about the effects of GMOs on the human health.